Welcome to Emptyroles.com. Emptyroles is a website that I started to help those who are going through situations, relationship type situations, situations to where, you know, they just don't have anyone to talk to. There are so many people out there in the online community that they just don't have that networking to where there are people who have similar interests that are actually can share their thoughts or ideals and just things that are actually happening with them. I have went through several different issues within my own life, and I'm a firm believer that if you go through things and you don't learn anything from those things, you will repeat those things. One thing about EmptyRoles.com, it's a place where people who've been married, who are married, people who've been divorced, people who are separated or have been separated, and get together and talk about their experiences. Talk about experiences of what they felt has led up to that divorce. Now, this is a site to encourage people. It's a site where people can actually go on and they can talk about things that they otherwise would not be able to talk about, or talk to folks and actually help folks. If you're going through something and you want to help somebody, it's always a good idea to just help them through your experience of what you went through. I know there are times when I went through things and I kept it to myself, and keeping things to yourself does not always solve the problem. It does not always help the issue. Case in point, child support. When I first started paying child support, I thought at first it was it was something that I wanted to do. I had gotten married, and then I went through a divorce, and then when the judge awarded her with child support, I was more than happy to pay child support. But the amounts that they actually, in the ruling that they actually gave me, they were extreme, and they are extreme. I'm still paying an extreme amount. And after I talked to several friends of mine who have been through similar situations, I'm finding out that they went through and are going through the same things that I am going through. But there's no voice. There's actually no voice. And I do understand that there are children out there and they that are not being supported by fathers. There are children out there who are the mothers are having to rely on government assistance and things of that nature. But that's not my circumstance. That's not my case. I've been blessed enough to have a job, and jobs are pretty scarce these days. However, I just feel like that without a support group for me and where we can actually voice what we're going through, we would just actually suffer from whatever someone wants to impose on us. And that's not fair. It's not fair to us, it's not fair to our families, and it's definitely not fair to our children. We want to be fathers. And for those of us who want to be fathers, we want to be fathers, and we want to be active in our child's lives. But legally, sometimes the law does not permit that. I believe that in many cases, and I'm not going to say all, because I don't want to go to a point to where I'm speaking universally for everyone or in every case, because that's not what I'm trying to do. But in many cases, the legal avenues that folk go through when they're actually going through divorces and things of that nature, those things are some of the catalysts that actually break up a family. And I understand what I'm saying. When a person goes through a divorce, the marriage is normally already over, or is getting to a point to be over. However, there are certain things, even though the marriage is over, there's still roles that have to be occupied. And that's one of the things that we talk about in Empty Roles. Empty Roles is the whole concept of this site is when someone leaves in any position, and there's a role that's left to be filled. And that role will be filled, but when they are filled, sometimes they're filled with people who are not qualified to fill those roles. I'll give you a good example. We look on news at the coach at Penn State who actually accused of molesting these young boys. We don't know if he's guilty or innocent, but I'm just using that as an example. When we look at some of the cases where it's actually true, many times that has happened because young boys have not had that adult father figure or even that mentor in their relationship. So that was an empty space that was open. Someone came in who was not qualified to fill that space, and in this case, possibly it was a pedophile, and they actually filled the role. So when that role was actually filled by someone else, wow. Then we have all these other things, these other issues that come up in our society that we try to fight against. But what can we do? Well, one thing we can do is talk about it. I used to serve in the church. I was actually I was ordained as a deacon at one point. And in churches and in most religions, there's some things that are forbidden to talk about. Empty roles. And this is where the creation of Emptyroles came from, because I knew that there was issues that needed to be talked about. I know that there are people out there who want to have that platform to actually talk about things and not be prosecuted or persecuted for their views. Now, is it a perfect site? No, it's not a perfect world, and there won't be perfect members of the site. And that's the whole beauty of it. Is that these are individuals, me, you, everyone else who decides to join Emptyroles.com will come on and just share their experiences. Share experiences of today, share experiences of yesterday, share experiences that will help someone who is actually going through some of the same things that you may be going through to get past those things. That's why this site is important. It's important because it's one of those things in nature that you just have to have. You just have to. In our lifetime, we are social beings. When you look at who are in prison, one of the worst things that I actually had a person who told me this story. They said that when he worked. This guy, he actually worked as a guard in prison, and he said that when folks go to prison, the first thing they'll say is, I'll just be in solitary confinement. I do not want to be in general population. After a couple of months, they beg to be in general population. And it's because we're social beings. We have a desire, an internal desire to actually be a part of a larger group. Whether that group is productive, whether that group is harmful, it all depends on the group that we associate ourselves with. Emptyroles is a positive group. It's positive because it's a group where truth can actually be put out there, discussed, dissect. We can dissect the truth and actually look at what makes us who we are. So I invite all of you to come and join Emptyroles, a place where you can share things, a place where you can heal the hurt, the shame, the defeat. Emptyroles.com. Peace.